My boyfriend, 34/M, said horrible things to me, 29/F, during a fight just now, and I don't know if I can ever get over it. I'm very upset right now, so I'm sorry if this is all over the place. I have issues with anxiety that have caused a strain on my boyfriend. I've been going to therapy for the past month or so and have improved and am actively working on it, but I still have moments of anxiety around our relationship. We've been together 2.5 years. Tonight, I was feeling sad because of the impending election and general state of the world. My boyfriend seemed annoyed by this and started talking about how much my negative feelings overwhelm him. I tried to explain that it had nothing to do with him, I just felt a little down, but he kept getting more and more angry about me making his life harder. We had some more back and forth and he started saying things I consider pretty horrible. He said that my net cost as a resource was negative, and that he wasn't getting anything out of the relationship. He said that all the reasons for being with me were theoretical. I was shocked at this and began to cry and told him he was breaking my heart, and then I raised my voice and told him to take it back. He yelled back that it was true, and my negatives outweighed my positives, so it was basically like my positives didn't exist. Told him I'd been trying really hard to work on things, which he's praised me for before, and he said I don't see how you can be doing much work when you sit around in your robe all day doing nothing. I have a demanding full-time job at a big tech company. I left our place in a state of shock and called my friend crying, who basically said that the things he said were horrible and verbally abusive. I came back to the apartment expecting an apology, but he said he stood by what he said, and the only thing he was sorry for was the comment about doing nothing all day. I feel heartbroken. He's been like this a couple times before, but we had agreed to never speak to each other like that again. I'm not sure if I can ever get past what he said or forget it. Should I just end this now, or are these kinds of fights to be expected in long-term relationships? Please help. Too long didn't read. Boyfriend said horrible things to me during fight. Don't know if this should be a deal breaker. He's been like this a couple times before, but we had agreed to never speak to each other like that again. He's telling you who he is, deep down, a bit of an insecure bully. These things show up under stress, and are covered over, unnoticed when things are good. When you returned, he had a huge, undeserved chance to walk it back, and he chose to hurt you with what he said. Once, even twice over a very long period, is growing up and learning. Anything more is who he is. Emo, it sounds like who he is. Sorry. The cure is losing the anxiety, and specifically, the anxiety he causes. Honey, he's calling you're a resource. That's disgusting. You're a human being, not a resource. Your friend is right, he was being verbally abusive. The fact that he's refusing to even apologize is a red flag. Walk away. I get that it's not always easy to be the partner of someone with anxiety, but he was just being plain toxic instead of having a grown-up conversation about his feelings. His reaction is his real feelings. He's with you for the convenience of not having to move or find a place to live. I have anxiety issues and I completely understand why it's hard for my loved ones to handle and how it can be frustrating, but the difference is that I still feel loved at the end of the day. Yes, we have mental illnesses, but we all deserve the same amount of love from others. I hope you find that. This isn't going to work out. Look, being with someone who has mental health issues is not easy. Not everyone can do that, and that is fair. He should break up with you if he feels he isn't getting enough out of the relationship. He doesn't get to do this. He doesn't get to pick fights and make you feel worse than you already were. He doesn't get to neg you, to make you feel worthless. Someone who loves you doesn't use that kind of language. Heck, even someone who has any decency wouldn't use that kind of language. I promise you that there are plenty of people out there who can handle you in a relationship, who are kind and supportive, who will never make you feel broken because your brain has decided to make more unhappy juices today. But you shouldn't hold out for this one to become that. He won't change. What would you tell a friend who had just told them they were less than worthless, and not for the first time? There's your answer. GTFO, this dude is gross. My F34 mom sent a thank you email to my abusive ex that has held my dog hostage after our breakup and won't consider how painful that is to me. I feel betrayed. Your dog died is an email I received last week from my ex. Our unhealthy relationship ended in a divorce 4 years ago and he bullied and hurt me to the point that I had to leave the country. My rescue dog was already 10 years old at the time and not fit for long-haul travel and quarantines, so I had no choice but to leave her with him. He's been always kind to her and I was confident that he will look after her well. That meant that I got no news about her, no opportunities to visit even when I came back for a bit. I was scared to reach out and unleash more abuse and ultimately I knew he hated me so much, he wouldn't let me. I just kept telling myself that all that matters is that she's in a safe and loving home and I have to let it go. My mom was very unsupportive of my decision to get a divorce and her persistence in negative commentary and constant questions about this clearly painful topic led me to cut our relationship for almost a year after that. I just felt like I was too fragile to handle her reactions. We eventually reconnected when I turned my life around and was strong enough to talk to her again. She resumed her constant comments and questions, but I didn't want to damage the relationship further and just kept reminding myself that I can't change my parents. Instead I tried to change my reactions to her, letting it slide all the time for the sake of peace. When I got that email that my dog died, I was hesitant to tell her because I knew it would stir something ugly again. But I did mention it casually next time we spoke. My ex gave me no details on my dog's death and it was painful knowing I can't ask for more information or even a photo. Couple days later mum says she sent him an email thanking him for taking care of the dog and he said he opted to put her down for health reasons and even sent her a video of the dog prior to that. I was in shock. How could she thank someone who's been abusive to me and even used my dog to hurt me? He never gave me heads up before putting her down or asking if I'm okay with it or want to see her before. The way it felt to me was his last big fuck you to hurt me. And the fact that mom thinks it's okay to support this kind of behavior does my head in. I told her that I don't feel safe talking to her anymore, that she overstepped the boundaries I clearly marked many times. I've expressed once again how painful that breakup was and how badly my ex has treated me. Said I was very hurt and disappointed in the way she didn't pay attention to my feelings at all. Today she texted me saying that I take offense in everything, I don't, and that it wasn't about me, just the dog. It's my dog and she's dead. I'm absolutely devastated by her inability to hear me. Have I just lost a parent? How can our relationship move on from this? I'm so hurt. Pensive face. Too long didn't read. My mom sent a thank you email to my abusive ex that has held my dog hostage after our breakup and won't consider how painful that is to me. I feel betrayed. She doesn't deserve to be your parent. It may be hard, but go North Carolina or at least Tennessee. Is there anything preventing you from doing that, e.g. siblings? She is obviously bad for your mental health and doesn't care about your feelings or boundaries. You are better off without her. Oh geez, your mom sounds just like my mom. Emotionally abusive, turns everything around to make herself sound like the victim, inserts herself in everything. My mom isn't as bad as a lot of the stories you see on /r/raised by narcissists, but they're similar enough that I genuinely believe she has a personality disorder. No advice except to put her on an information diet if you decide to maintain a relationship with her. A few things from your post strike me and make me wonder about the relationship with your mother. After you divorced, you left the country. Did you live near your parents before that? Is your mother sad that you live abroad? Is part of her negativity about the divorce that it caused this geographic distance? You were sad that you had no details of your dog's death and not even a recent photo. Your mother got you details and even a video. If she had to make nice with ex to do so, at least she got what you wanted. Understand why it upsets you that she did so and that she generally invalidates your experience and feelings, though. With respect to your ex, given your history and the ugliness of the end, most people would say that there should be absolutely no contact between you, especially if there were no children. Those who care about him and don't believe you would say he should cut all contact to protect himself from accusations. Those who love and believe you would not want any door open that would allow him to hurt you further. I know that you want to have a mom. The problem is that you have this mom, who sounds honestly abusive and awful and who doesn't care about your feelings. I understand how you feel. I'm low/no contact with my entire family and have been for years. Trust me, it is better to not have a family and know that you've got your own back than it is to constantly self-betray to keep the dream of family alive. You, like me, don't have a mother. You have an abuser. It's not kind, at all, to keep her in your life. It's self-harm. This post is like a prophecy about what is going to happen to my sister when she, hopefully, leaves her husband. He is a verbally abusive piece of crap. He's lazy, unemployed, and severely paranoid. He has delusions and refuses to take medication or do any therapy to treat his mental issues, depression, anxiety, paranoid schizophrenia. He goes into violent rages and breaks things, and has talked at length about how he wants to kill everyone who has wronged him. The psychiatrist he briefly saw was so concerned he told my sister she should have a go bag ready in case she needed to escape. My mom is entirely on the husband's side. My sister is difficult to live with and that's why he gets so angry with her. Anytime my sister would confide in her and ask for support, Mom would run and tattle to him. She thinks my sister needs to try harder to be a good wife and says she'd be a terrible person if she leaves him. I truly don't get it. My mom is a two-time divorcee. She left our dad because of his untreated paranoid schizophrenia. She knows what my sister is living with. She completely supported me when I divorced my first husband because he was emotionally abusive. But for some reason she is adamant that my sister will be literal trash as she leaves her marriage. It's like the golden child, black sheep thing, except for our entire lives I was the black sheep and my sister the one mom doted. Now it's reversed and it's so fucking bizarre. Anyway, sorry for hijacking your post and rambling. It really sucks that you're in this situation too. It's completely valid that you feel betrayed because you were betrayed. Your mom has chosen your abusive ex over her own daughter. I think you cutting contact again would be entirely in your best interest. My 27/F, GF 30/F, hasn't had a job in 4 years and it's wearing me down. Hi everyone. I started a LDR with a girl I met through a friend, which lasted about a year, and culminated her moving across state lines to be with me in the city. Everything was great, and we were truly in love with each other. Because she moved across state lines, and because she expressed the desire to leave her toxic field of choice and try her hand at something more banal, I agreed to take on the burden of supporting her for a while until she had a job. She would take on most of the cleaning and groceries etc. while I was at work. I even agreed to sleep on a mattress in the kitchen because she had chronic insomnia problems and required very specific constraints under which she got sleep. I could not tolerate these while working. I feel like I've done everything I could for her, including taking care of her expensive medical needs, which destroyed my savings. After around 1.5 to 2 years, I started to develop an anxiety disorder under the stress of supporting her. What had at first been something I was willing to do out of kindness and love quickly became a consent issue, and has turned into a burden. Fast forward to now, 4 years after she came to the city, and still no job. I am a nervous wreck, and I feel completely emotionally run down by the burden of supporting her. I've destroyed my body by putting on weight due to the stress as well. I used to be pretty happy and carefree, but now I'm just depressed and anxious all the time. We have a non-existent sex life because my sex drive has tanked completely. I don't know what to do because I still love her and we have a loving romantic relationship otherwise. She's never really done anything wrong, if that makes sense. She's been loving, helpful, and genuinely seems affected by not succeeding in finding a job and helping shoulder the burden. I never really cared for my mental health much before, but it's really starting to affect me. I've become emotionally unstable, and sometimes the stress and resentment come through in my interactions with her. The hardest part about this is that I can tell she's trying and just failing. I've tried to help and I've been rebuffed several times and only able to help a bit, but otherwise, she hasn't done anything wrong. If she has, I haven't been able to tell what she's doing wrong in particular, because I can't and don't want to be there 24/7 to monitor every job application. But I am resentful because I feel like I've sacrificed everything from my body to my mental health to make this relationship happen, but it's just not happening. What do I do? To make it clear, this is a big, deal-breaking issue for me that I've told her is my primary source of stress and anxiety. I don't see much change, and I think she's too ashamed at this point to give me updates, which just compounds my stress because of the radio silence. Too long didn't read. LDRGF turned Earl hasn't had a job in 4 years and I've gone from happy to anxious wreck supporting her. What do?